to predictability. The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a place of somebody who needs you. Everywhere you look, when you're lost out there and you're all alone, life is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look, whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV. Everywhere you look,
All right, here we go.
Yeah. I just have to ask, Chris, what is that? What is that from?
Full House.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was some 80s sitcom nightmare-inducing something or other.
Yeah.
Bob Saget, rest in peace.
Oh, man.
Maybe.
That guy was brutal.
Maybe. Anyway, welcome back to that guy was brutal. Yeah. Eagle. Welcome back to Conspiring with Mr. Cooper. I'm Cato, trusty sidekick. This is Mr. Tom Cooper, the mayor, and now the governor of Cooperville.
Nice.
Hey, hello, Tom.
Good evening, everybody. We got the great Chuck on tonight.
And now
this is going to be awesome.
Yeah. My trusty and very my great producer, Mr. Chuck Ochelli of Ochelli.com. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't have the applause thing downloaded.
Oh, next time we'll have Chuck on again.
Wait. I might have an applause. Let me get it real fast.
I have the mod theme song.
There you go. Nice.
There you go. Producer always ready.
Back up.
Anyway,
I'm sorry. I only have.
Yes.
I think I got a Wilhelm scream somewhere if I can find it real fast.
What we got?
Nice.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
Anyway,
Yeah, boy.
this is do-it-yourself podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds like stuff. There's Isaiah in the background. Anyway, so
I love it. Stuff. What kind of stuff? Well, it might be that kind of stuff.
the Wilhelm
scream. Got to get it in.
So anyway, Mr. Chuck Ochelli and Mr. Tom Cooper, two very, very close individuals to me. So anyway, the meeting of the minds, and then we will be joined by Occult Priestess.
Oh boy!
Once she ends her broadcast right now. Now, Mr. Ochelli.
For a second there, wait a second. For a second there, I almost thought one of my children was behind Tom there because I.
That's my great nephew Isaiah.
I got an 8-year-old running around. Looks a lot like him.
He's 8 years old too. That's crazy.
Maybe I'll grab Frankie before the show's over and bring him on.
Awesome. Hey, we like the kids to make appearances.
Why not, right? I mean, listen, they're in our face every minute. Why not bring them to everybody else's?
Absolutely. The more the merrier.
So anyway, Chuck, just so Tom and the audience here can be familiar, what got you on your journey into the JFK assassination? And I know Isaiah's right here, so I don't know if that was the right question to ask.
That's okay, dude. I have my headphones in, so he can't hear nothing.
I got you. Okay.
Excellent. So he's just looking at the odd people on the screen making.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No problem. Well, what got me on my journey? Interesting thing. Where should I begin? Right. The initial question I asked when I was probably about the same age as young Isaiah there, when I was in third grade, and they were telling me the story that happened because, look, I was born in 1972, so it was nearly 10 years after things happened that I came into the world. And somewhere, let's see now, in about 1980, I guess it was, I'm sitting in third grade, 80, 81, somewhere in there. And they're telling the story of what happened to John F. Kennedy. He had his brains blown out in Dallas, Texas, and this and that. And then they arrested a guy, and he died while in police custody. And the story kept going, and I stuck up my hand. Look, I'm a street level kid. So which cop killed him?
Yeah.
No, the cops didn't kill him. Okay, the cops didn't kill him, and he died in police cut. Something's wrong with the story. And that was my introduction to it. Is something is wrong here. You don't die in police custody unless the police killed you.
Right.
Or maybe an inmate killed you and the police let it happen. But either way, you don't die in police custody. What's wrong with the story? Now, I didn't ask a lot of questions for a lot of years because, I just went on with life. I was about, 8, 9 years old, and things were things. But I started to get interested in it, and it just kind of started to capture me because in the media around the 25th anniversary of 1988, there were a lot of specials. There were a lot of discussions, radio shows, all kinds of stuff, generally leading to, look, there's a lot of questions about this, but at the end of the day, the government decided this and it's over. It was the lone assassin. It was the lone nut. Those 2 sentences in your high school history book about it that tell you that this happened and here's the alleged assassin. That's all there is to it. And I couldn't reason with that. So I started to study it on my own by reading books and things like that. And then I started to leave high school, and I was a musician already. I was doing my thing, making a living, not a great living, but a living at it, and traveling from place to place. And I realized as I was reading about people that had been witnesses or parts of or this or that in the assassination, that I might be near them as I traveled to different parts of the country. So I would open up a phone book and just call them up and say, hey, I read about you in a book. And I was just curious. Is this the real story? What happened? Got a wide variety of responses and didn't intend to be a researcher. I was just curious. And that's the way it actually started. And got a little more intense for me for different reasons over the following years. And the next thing I knew is I was part of research teams and things that were actually taking things apart and getting involved in chain letters where we were putting together our evidence and mailing different things to people. And I wound up on a mailing list with a guy named Vince Salandria, who is a fairly legendary JFK researcher. Not a lot of people mention him nowadays, but I assure you he's part of the reason why any of the truth ever got out. Anyway, I just happen to be involved in and with these people and working with them. And there's a lot more to the story, Chris. Which part should I go into?
Hold that thought, Chuck. We have Occult Priestess with us. How are you?
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. I just got off my own live stream over at Rockfin, and I heavily canvassed for this stream. So hopefully we'll have some more people joining. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great to see you, Tom.
Good to see you too.
And Ochelli.
How you doing?
Yeah, this is Ochelli and I's first time actually meeting. It's nice to meet you, sir.
Absolutely. We've had many attempts to meet, and yet they've been derailed for different reasons. But coming up very soon, we're going to be live on my show on the Ochelli Effect. Actually, the date's not in front of me.
But it's at the end of the month.
It's at the end of the month, 31st, yep. Right?
Oh, it's not the first yet. So
no, 31st. I think we're getting.
It might be. It might be. You might be right.
Yeah, I think it is. Let's see. On my whiteboard over here, Occult Priestess, where are you? You're not on this one. You're on the digital one. All right. Sorry. I know it's coming up soon.
Well, I do want to explain my costume. We were talking about the Nazis tonight, and I'm a grill chick, you guys.
Right?
Okay. It's a costume. I don't normally dress this way.
I thought it was either German kindergarten time or it was BDSM. One or the other, I thought, but
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah, I usually wear this shirt all the time because I'm really poor right now.
Dude, I get it. I get it.
So
And
anyway,
my Punisher shirt's got all kinds of holes in it.
oh, yeah.
It is what it is. Hey, the brand new hat, though, I'm sporting a brand new hat.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So, OP, we were just having Chuck explain how he got into the JFK assassination research. And Chuck, just for those that are not familiar, this is a very personal subject to you. I don't know if you want to go how far or even if you want to go into that, but I think it would give a lot of people, a better understanding of where you're coming from. At least it did for me. But maybe that's too personal. I'm not sure.
I think I know what you're reaching for, and it's fine. You know what? I'm among friends. Let's go for it.
We're gonna do the reach around.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go.
Hey, hold on. Here we go.
Okay, don't everybody get too excited or too sad or anything, because I'm going to tell you a story quickly that's going to sound pretty. I know, too late for you, Chris, but it's okay. We'll help you through it. Whatever it is, we'll help you through it. Look, when I was 4 years old, my father committed suicide, and that sucked. Put it bluntly. He was a combat veteran. He had served in Vietnam, and to me and to my father afterwards, this was a criminal thing that occurred here, that the young men were sent under false pretenses to go ahead and fight people in Southeast Asia, and were told to do horrible things on behalf of their country. And my father served. He was sent in 1968, immediately following the disastrous Tet Offensive and all of that, and had a horrible time over there. It turns out, I found out later, that he had actually become a sniper. They picked him out of the group. He volunteered, but they picked him out of the group. He had a special skill with a gun that was unknown to him at that time. So they brought him in as a military intelligence sniper. Apparently, the Army did, and trained him up right away and sent him right on in. Now, that part of the story is not known or part of the official record, but put a pin in the official record for a moment. He suffered from PTSD, and it basically killed him. So he left part of his soul there, and he wound up taking his own life here. Very simple, a few years after he returned. But I was 4 years old and wasn't contending with all these things. Now, I knew what it looked like for him to have night terrors and all that. It's a tough thing. Sorry, I had to relive that for a moment in my head.
I'm sorry, Chuck. Well, what I was basically getting at before is
it's okay. We're going there. Let me go, okay. Chris. Let me just do it.
I didn't mean to bring up.
It's okay. It's okay. But here's the thing. That sucked, and I carried that with me. And okay, fine and dandy. But then I wanted to apply to go to college. And I'm a visually impaired person. I'm legally blind. I thought that as the legally blind son of a veteran, there might be money available for me that the U.S. government would possibly give me to help me go to college. And I was a poor kid thinking this might be a way for me to, have a better life. So I did that, and I got letters back threatening to prosecute me if I was to state that I was the child of a veteran, because I would literally be making a false assertion under stolen valor, because there is no record of his service. It doesn't exist. He did not serve. Now, I had his dog tags. I had photographs. I still have photographs, actually, that he took in Vietnam of things that happened and all that. Had no idea why my government was telling me this, or that, he didn't exist as far as they were concerned. I let it go. But I wanted answers for a long time. And I found out right then and there that not only does my government lie to me, but they're willing to prosecute me if I try and challenge their lies. Now, the interesting part of this story, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm skipping over a lot of things, Chris, as you well know, but in 2007, suddenly his record reappeared. It's loaded with a whole bunch of crap that is not true, but his record reappeared because they were transferring Vietnam era documents, and they accidentally reinserted his file into the Department of Defense's database. So now he exists, but my existence as his child, born before he was allegedly discharged from the military, is not noted on the file, and things like this. And I still do not have his complete service record, and I also know that it is it's filled with false information. So that right there got me really triggered about the whole thing. And now you're wondering, why does this have anything to do with the JFK assassination? Well, here's the thing. Had John F. Kennedy not been publicly executed on November 22nd, 1963, had that not happened, he already had in motion plans to end the Vietnam War by the end of calendar year 1965. There are 68,000 men that died there. There are well more than 1 million men who were either physically, psychologically, or spiritually mutilated as a result of serving in a conflict that should have ended. His assassination assured that it did not end. So, yeah, this made it kind of personal to me that somebody needs to answer for this, that somebody needs to have an explanation, that not just my own personal situation, but if you can agree with me that 1 million men were returned to the United States, either dead or in a mutilated circumstance, spiritually, psychologically, mentally, physically, if you can agree with me that that is true and that was done under false pretense, then there is an entire generation of us that had our fathers, our uncles taken from us.
Oh, sorry, Chuck. Yeah, no. It just gives some background on all the years that Chuck has put in to researching this topic, and for a lot of people that are in the quote unquote conspiracy research, that's usually one of the foundations. For a lot of us, it's a starting point. If you even go back to before 9/11, that was the big one, the big event where people, would say, hey, I remember where I was when I heard, JFK was shot. And then, unfortunately, we had a repeat of that on September 11, 2001. Same type of situation. So, anyway, I thought it was important that people that are not familiar with your work and your shows.
No, that's the heart of it, though. That is the reality. Is that I believe that somebody needs to answer for that, and of course, they need to answer for all of the times that we have willingly, knowingly sent young men into harm's way.
Yeah, exactly.
I am the child of a Vietnam vet. He raised me. He's not my natural father, and he was extremely demonic. He was very abusive, and brainwashing was a normal term in my home because he was always brainwashing my mother. So I really feel for you, Chuck. I understand. And I just see it all as a part of the New World Order or the spiritual warfare we're a part of. And to take someone to task in a court of law is never going to be true justice.
Oh no! Look, I don't even hold my breath over the legal system holding anybody accountable. I'm just saying that in reality, I think we need to recognize who it is that is responsible for doing the damage that's been done, because I think that's the gift that keeps on giving, and it has continued after. Look, it's not just Vietnam. It is wars before and after, where people have sacrificed parts of themselves or all of themselves. And whether it's the absolute destruction of a sovereign nation under false pretenses, i.e., Iraq, or it is the false flag event that is now admitted to by our own government that got us into Vietnam, or it is the war for dope that went on now for way more than the amount of time that the Vietnam War took up regarding Afghanistan. I'm sorry, I think the truth is what is necessary so that we are aware of what's going on, so that we can stop repeating this atrocity. And again, look, I'm not somebody who's like, you need to at all times salute and worship, your troops. And I'm not this guy, not at all. But what I am saying is that when people do this voluntarily, or if they're drafted, either way, we need to have respect enough for human life to say that should only be done under the most extreme circumstances. And quite frankly, it is being done in all of our names. And therefore, I think we all bear some responsibility to stand up and say, this is not acceptable. But that is the root of why it is I invested more than 30 years into seeking the truth here, into bringing this out regarding this. Because all the time you'll be asked, why does the Kennedy assassination still matter? It still matters because that damage cannot be undone. Yep. The things that were done cannot be undone. And if I am even remotely correct, that we would not have had to go through that next decade. Yeah. Okay. Because the war didn't end technically till 1976, right? So happened to be the year my father died on September 11th. Thank you very much. Of 1976. September 11th's always been a day that sucked for me. But, here we go. That whole decade was not necessary. The whole 20 years in Afghanistan, not necessary. Right. So if it's not necessary, this is, and I know it's a serious subject, but you know what? You wanted to go at the heart of it, Chris. I gave it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Now, OP, you have something in common with Chuck, and that is a certain someone named Jordan Maxwell.
Oh, yeah. Well, Chuck has a lot more to do with Jordan Maxwell. I have met him a few times, talked to him, hugged him, tried to heal him, sending him Reiki and everything. Big fan. And since he's passed, I've been the shoulders it's fallen upon to do his memorials, which is great. I mean, that's wonderful. And Micah Dank has joined me for 2 years in a row also for the memorials. So you can see those over on my Rockfin channel.
Now, how, if you don't mind me asking, Tom, I don't want to speak over you if you had something you wanted to add or anything.
Can I need to run to the little girl's room because I just finished my stream and I went to
Absolutely.
I'll
you
be
need
right
another
back.
stream. Yeah, I got you.
Sometimes you got to interrupt one stream for another stream.
Yes, sir.
Well, Chuck, how did you, if you don't mind me asking, how did you come upon Jordan Maxwell's work in your life?
Some years ago, we had a producer in common, Jordan and I, and just started kind of talking. I did an interview with him because I really respected his work. And next thing I knew, I had a friend.
Nice.
We were just friendly in general. We talked about some things that I'm discovering now. He didn't discuss with too many other people privately. I did many extensive interviews with him. We did a series that a lot of people point to, the Special Dogmatic Theology series, which ran 24 episodes that have been published. There's actually 25 episodes, but anyway, there's 24 of them that were published. Thankfully, somebody else reposted them on YouTube, considering that I lost my YouTube channel because, I'm dangerous. So,
yeah, he's bashing a dead guy for being dead.
Yeah.
Well, who was that dead guy, Chuck?
Well, one of the reasons why my YouTube channel had to go is because I was cyberbullying someone on YouTube, apparently, and that someone was Jeffrey Epstein after he was dead. So, that, and apparently I was, oh God, what else was I doing? I had done something related to hate speech. I can't even figure that one out. JFK. Oh, but my favorite is JFK. Apparently I was encouraging self-harm. And how was I doing this? I was comparing two statements that John F. Kennedy made, one public and one private, which I played the recordings of on my YouTube channel about 10 years ago. Showing people, hey, listen, he was saying this publicly, and here's the letter he dictated to somebody else, from his dictaphone tape. Here's the two different statements. You see how they're different. One is public, one's private, blah, blah. Well, somehow this encourages self-harm among people. I'm not sure how. I forget what else. There was some other ludicrous stuff. And the other thing, I also was crazy enough to say that, Johnson & Johnson is one of the makers of a vaccination right now for COVID. And since we can't trust them not to put cancer-causing things in talcum powder, and also they were quite involved in amping up the opioid crisis by literally developing and cultivating what they call a poppy straw so that you could utilize the entire plant and be more efficient when harvesting, heroin, basically. One way or another, it's heroin. But it could be for Oxycontin, it could be for Percocet, whatever. They were the ones supplying. They were a great middleman in making sure that your other companies, your Sackler family-owned companies and other constituents had even more opium to work with. And they're growing this in mass in places like New Zealand. Maybe we shouldn't trust them to not want to do harm to the public, considering they do that and also make many drugs that are supposed to help fight arthritis and happen to give you heart attacks. Maybe they're not so trustworthy. And so that was medical disinformation. One other thing, I was promoting violence by doing news reports about what happened on January 6th, not supporting the actions on January 6th or anybody's violence, but simply reporting what happened and talking about all that. I was simultaneously promoting violence and what was the other thing? And also supporting the 2020 election as a fraud thing, even though I've absolutely never done that. Apparently I was doing that too, according to the YouTube algorithm.
Right.
So a whole bunch of stuff like that happened. And suddenly my YouTube channel, after it had been there since 2008, had to go in 2022, finally, even though I had it taken away, brought back on appeal and back and forth many times. I finally lost that battle last year. Yeah. So there you go.
Now, OP, while you were gone for a second, I was asking Chuck how he became acquainted with, first how he became aware of Jordan Maxwell's work and his own research in his life. And then I think I also touched upon how you actually came to know him. I was going to ask you the same thing.
So it's really simple. I listened to Art Bell as a child, so I heard of everyone, right? I mean, Art Bell was the place you went. If you wrote a book, boom, you're on Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. And Cincinnati was one of the first, where I grew up in Cincinnati, was one of the first places that actually syndicated Coast to Coast. And I don't know, it was just like some special thing I feel like God gave me. Like, okay, weird child, here's some people you can listen to so you don't feel so weird. And so honestly, that, and then Jordan is all pervasive. Really, if you think about it, it's hard to pick up a book on the topic of conspiracy or even sometimes spirituality. He's in those books too. So there's just a lot of people that have been inspired by his work. And I believe that he had a soul mission, a spiritual mission. And it was to excavate and expose the government as a whole.
Can I ask you a question,
Yeah,
Occult
yeah.
Priestess? Can I
Yes.
ask you a question about this specifically? Because I was thinking about this before you spoke, and I'm so glad you said it. But this is what I recognize, is that Jordan's work was so groundbreaking at a certain point that it permeated all of what I would call conspiracy culture and all of what is alternative media, what became alternative media. Going from the 90s into the internet age where we ended up with the podcasts and all that. His work permeated it so much that I think people knew about the things that he introduced to all across the board through everybody's work. It was like a virus, the way it's spread,
Right.
to be honest, right? It was in everybody's work all of a sudden. And even if you go back to the Zeitgeist films, which moved people in the later O's of the 2000s, right? And all that. I mean, his work was what they based all that on. and people ripping him off and using his work and quoting it and
Isn't he
misquoting it.
also in
It
the
was just
film?
everywhere.
I think he's in Loose Change by Jason Burmis and those boys, all about 9/11. Like there's
Yeah.
little clips of Jordan Maxwell. Like, wow. Because to me, Art Bell is new age and spiritual and all these, they're not conspiracy people, really,
Right.
for the most part.
But that's the thing, is it ended up in the spiritual, the new age stuff. It ended up in the conspiracy culture. It went everywhere, even actually into the mainstream a little bit. The Ancient Alien series and all that stuff on
Totally.
History Channel. There it is. Jordan Maxwell is present in some way, and he just spread everywhere
Yep.
in this really supernatural sort of way. Jordan's a unique person in this way. His work, his ideas, the things he introduced that literally he had been talking in public about for half a century, 50 years.
Well, also on the shoulders of giants, Manly P. Hall. So he didn't come in just completely green.
No, they were good friends. He was a good friend of Manly P. Hall's. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question.
Yeah.
I thought they were friends.
Now, for those that are listening, who is Manly P. Hall and how is he significant to Jordan Maxwell?
Go ahead, Ochelli. I think you've got the rank. You can pull rank on me here.
Hey, I'm not trying to pull rank on anybody, but here's what I urge anybody listening to us to do is go look up Manly P. Hall. Go look up the information that he was collecting. Take a look at that very unique library that he had assembled in California, and you'll begin to just get a glimpse at the amount of knowledge that a man was was collecting, not trying to collect, was collecting. Manly P. Hall, long before we had the internet, long before we had the databases accessible to us and all that. And here's the thing, they were close enough. OP, I guess I'll call you OP. I don't know. How do I address you? OP, Occult Priestess?
No, OP is fine.
Okay, OP, we'll go with that. OP, here's the thing about it. It's hard to really give a bullet points explanation for Manly P. Hall, but the connection to Jordan is this simple. He left his journals. Manly P. Hall's journals were actually in Jordan Maxwell's possession. He gave them to him. If you study who Manly P. Hall is, you're going to know exactly what type of a cipher those journals were. Now, I'm not going to give you the spoiler about what happened to him or what happened to Jordan. Again, critically, the man was robbed, taken advantage of, and stolen from, sometimes politely, in homage, and sometimes criminally. Throughout his life, it was continuous, and really, really a tremendous crime that kept occurring there that kept happening to somebody who did nothing but present information to humanity, to try and inform us, to try and decode what is going on around us and give us a glimpse again at all of the control systems that are quite invisible to most, but have become quite a bit more obvious to the majority of us who say we're awake, we're aware, etc. You couldn't possibly be awake, aware, or in the know at this point and not be aware of Jordan, his work. Even if you don't know his name, you know his work somehow, if you're in the least way enlightened. I don't know. Am I being unfair, OP?
No. He's maybe not as pervasive as Carl Jung, right? But as a modern person, he's legendary. There's no doubt about it. And the thing that happened with Manly P. Hall's journal just takes us all back to the Library of Alexandria, which we still mourn over to this day.
Yeah, Manly P. Hall may have actually reincarnated the Library of Alexandria, but you'll judge for yourself if you go look at it. I urge everybody to go ahead and do some study on it, because even if you think you know about it, I mean, no offense to anybody, even if you think you know about it, go study, because no matter how much you know, there's always more to know.
I have some really cool little, they look like pamphlet books because they're old, from Manly P. Hall. Let me see if I can get one. They're just on the other shelf.
Now, while we're waiting for that, you, OP, and you have something else in common. A gentleman named Freeman Fly.
Oh yeah. like me some Freeman.
Well, Freeman's an interesting guy, but now I have to allow OP to pull rank on me because
That I could do for this.
for this one, absolutely. Freeman.
So my green screen is blocking my Manly P. Hall collection. So whatevs. Freeman Fly, the legendary, that I call him the OG of conspiracy. And he's my friend in real life. And he's almost my neighbor, but not quite. So Freeman started at the same place, same bat time, same bat channel as Alex Jones, InfoWars. And so they're contemporaries. However, I feel like Freeman went in a completely like fringe, ear to the ground, real people stuff, where I think Alex went more obviously for the bigger stuff, the limelight, what's going to get me more fans.
Bill Cooper. Sorry.
Yes.
Right now.
I don't recall Bill Cooper ever mentioning Freeman Fly, so I think he's golden,
Yeah, so there's they don't think Freeman is someone else or that he's an FBI shill or anything. Freeman's always been very open that his father was a Freemason. His father worked with Project Blue Beam and he chased aliens. And this is something that Freeman found out as an adult, a young adult. And that's what started his journey. Well, he was already on the journey, actually. And then he found out all this stuff about his dad. And he's like, oh, my God. So he has a friend that he calls, is it Morrison Crowley? He had a friend. So that's Jim
Crowley
Morrison,
or
Aleister
Crowley?
Crowley. Kind of nicknamed him that.
Oh, okay.
And that man gave him a book collection. And that's really what got him started on everything. But Freeman is a literal genius. There's not too many of those in the world. And I think he's got a very good heart. So you've got a genius mind and a good heart. And that is like, there's no limit to that and what he could do. And so to me, he is the original OG of conspiracy. That's Freeman Fly at freemantv.com.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And he's only ever appeared on my, he appeared on my 2000th show, because I've actually done more than 2000 podcasts of the Ochelli Effect. But he appeared on my 2000th show graciously. And the only time because I'm an idiot and he's a genius, only time I've ever appeared on Freeman's show is with the Greek.
Right. And that was recently. You guys can go to freemantv.com and go ahead and just look up Ochelli and you can see that episode. And Freeman was with me over at Rock Friend on February 11th ish, because my birthday and Alex Jones' birthday are the exact same. We're the exact same age. But Freeman co-hosted my birthday party this year and it was freaking awesome.
I was there.
Woo-hoo. Thank you, Tom.
I was there too, and
I know. Thank you, Chris.
To be fair with Chuck, I'm sure I'm not going to speak for the man. He's right here, but I'm sure he would have been there, but he had a call-in show that night. So
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that very evening. Thank you.
I said it right on the broadcast, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, no, hey, listen, I'm always happy to show up at a party, but nah, I do so many of my own shows. I got to usually do those. So,
I know it's hard for us. We have to do shows together. That's the only way we're going to be able to really talk.
Right. Which is why I'm looking very forward to a very unusual interview. I assure you that when you and I do get together on the Ochelli Effect. So
I'm seriously looking forward to it.
Well,
yeah, I don't go into esoteric topics very often on my show, and but this is going to be a different one because I have to go esoteric. I got Occult Priestess on. What am I going to do here? We're going to talk about what? Baking tips? You got some?
You know what? I would listen to that. I would listen to that multiple times.
If we did a cooking show, it would kick ass, I assure you, because she could bring in the Sicilian stuff and she could bring in, I don't even know what, but we could make something that nobody has ever seen before. I promise you.
Chuck, actually, it leads right into what I was just thinking.
Well, just let me say real quick that sure. Yes, we are confirmed for May 31st at 7:55.
Excellent.
For Chuck Ochelli show.
On Ochelli.com.
That's right.
That's where it'll be live. There you go.
Well, if you guys were to do a cooking show at some point, you should probably bake a few birthday cakes because I don't know, Mr. Ochelli, at 2 a.m. one time, we were talking on the telephone, that old timey thing.
Yep.
And you gave me the backstory, the very dark backstory on birthday cakes. You give us a little taste of that maybe right now?
The reality of where birthday cakes come from?
Yeah, I don't think many people are
Oh
aware of
boy.
it.
All right. Well, I'll give you a hint because I don't want to lay the whole thing out. I will tell you that it's an interesting topic, though, because nobody ever questions it, right? I mean, very much like nobody ever questions the the whole pranking that people do to their children regarding Santa Claus and all this, right? But anyway, let's not go into Santa Claus and what that really represents, and the fact that there used to be an interesting statue that they would heat up until it was red hot and throw children onto the laps of. But anyway,
No.
let's not talk about that today. Let's not talk about the fact that when I was 17, I was also a mall Santa for a couple of weeks. But anyways,
That's a really young Santa Claus.
hey, listen, they were paying good money, and I said, yeah, sure, let's go. I'm in between gigs.
Right.
So,
Was your story darker than Bad Santa, or
no,
mine would have been?
I just had a lot of fun because I was still in high school, and there were girls that hated my guts in high school who came to have jokes and sit on Santa's lap and be funny until they realized I was the Santa Claus, and then they freaked out. That was fun.
Jokes on them.
Joking on them.
Are you guys looking in the chat room? The chat room is going off.
I
AM
hope
Wake
so.
Up is in there.
Greetings.
Nice.
Number 6
thanks.
is in there.
Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it.
Excellent.
And
So-
Yona Anawodi is in there. I mean, come
Nice.
on, guys. It's great.
Now the occult backstory on the birthday cake, Mr. Ochelli.
So here's the thing. At a certain point in time, there were many cultures that did have child sacrifice as a very common thing. And what would happen is you remove the child from the home, they disappear. Now, there might be other siblings. Now, that might have been done on a birthday, so to speak. And, they would bring them a sweet cake. And what is that sweet cake? Well, that sweet cake might have something to do with the consumption of said child. And that's what it's there to symbolize. You're eating the cake in order to celebrate the child sacrifice. That's really where the birthday cake comes from. There is the very short, rough story of it.
May
Okay.
I please inquire as to the culture?
Yes.
Multiple.
It just doesn't sound Greek, if you know what I mean.
No, it's not Greek. It's not Roman, although the Romans had some interesting practices related to this, but they were way further down the line. This is previous to the Roman Empire
Oh
rise.
my.
Yes.
Wow, the birthday cake's old as hell.
Yeah, it really is.
Pretty fucking dark.
It is a very dark subject. But again, I thought we were here to have some fun.
Oh, we are. Hold on. After the child sacrifice, let me get the boing thing. Let me see.
There you go.
I'm not Fred Norris, so just hold on a second, folks.
It's okay.
So
Few
we got
people are.
Well, we got this.
Lady Godiva was a freedom rider. She didn't care if the whole world would. Joan of
Right.
Arc with the Lord to guide her. She was a sister who really could. Isadora was the first bra burner. Agent that she showed up. Oh, yeah. The country was falling apart. Betsy Ross got it all sewed up.
And then also,
And then there's Maud.
And then there's Maud.
And then there's Maud.
And then there's Maud.
And then there's Maud. That uncompromising, enterprising, anything but tranquilizing. Right on, Maud.
One more time.
She didn't care if the whole
and Yona Anawodi said, no
Joan
more
of Arc
weed.
with the Lord to guide her.
Yes.
AM Wake Up said that Manly P. Hall was a hack.
Okay. Well,
Shout out to AM Wake Up. for rocking.
And then there's Mod. B. Arthur
Yeah.
was no hack. No hack indeed. All right, so I timed that out
Wait,
nicely.
what's
huh?
everybody's sign, dudes? I'm
Oh,
Aquarius.
I'm an Aquarius.
I used to be a Libra. You, Chuck?
Libra. What about you?
Aries.
Aries. Ooh, nice. Happy belated birthday.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank
Thank you. Oh yeah, well, I was actually born on exactly the same day as Crazy Joe Gallo, which is also the same day he died. So yeah, I was born on the same day Crazy Joe Gallo was assassinated.
And born.
Who is Crazy Joe Gallo?
Interesting mobster in New York mafia history. Guy who was well known for, working with other cultures and stuff like that, and had a very a serious war with the Colombo family that got very, very bloody. Yeah.
It was
Spooky stuff,
depicted in the
man.
depicted in the new movie, well, newer movie from a couple years ago, The Irishman, with Robert De Niro and the de-aging and all that. Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, that, and he also makes an appearance in what other thing did they have him in? The Offer, which was the backstory to The Godfather, where Gallo was involved. He was trying to extort money off the filmmakers, and Joe Colombo.
I thought it was he had a cameo in Batman and Robin.
Well, it could be there too.
Okay,
Never know. Along with Natalie Wood.
Chuck, are you familiar with Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman?
Of course.
Ooh.
Housed for the longest time in Trenton, New Jersey, from the same state as me.
I used to communicate with his daughter back when MySpace was still going.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The auditorium. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The auditorium in the chat said, I loved listening to Art Bell when I was delivering pizzas late at night years ago.
Nice.
That's perfect pizza delivery radio right there.
Right?
Yes, indeed. See, I was in the New York, New Jersey area. So, we didn't just have Art Bell. Before that, we had a lot of strange characters that you could get. I mean, the tri-state area was wonderful when it came to AM radio at night. And I loved that since I was a little kid.
Awesome.
All the talk radio stuff. I mean, we had Long John Neville. Of course, Art Bell came in there at some point, but there was all kinds of overnight radio stuff that's just, I wish I could find it all. And then later I discovered shortwave, and that's how I found Bill Cooper.
Yep.
Wow.
But that
This is the hour of the time. I'm William Cooper.
There you go.
You actually went to see him, right, Chuck?
Yeah, I crazy road trip. Somebody said we're going to go and check out the guy who's got the the limo driver shot JFK thing.
Yeah.
And like I had gotten one of those tapes. You had to send away to him in Arizona. It cost $50.
Wow.
And you got a VHS tape, and it was a lot of money, $50 in like 1988, 89, to get a VHS tape and a packet of documents that he claimed that he saw. This is the copies of the documents that I saw that proved that the limo driver shot him. I got my criticisms of Bill Cooper, but anyway, he was wrong about the limo driver shooting. Anyhow,
he admitted it. Let's be fair.
So this is not the Pale Horse Cooper.
Yes, it
no,
is.
this
Yes.
is the Pale Horse Cooper.
Okay. I didn't know that he had that theory.
Yeah.
Well, later on he admit whether he was. I'm not going to speak for the man, but he did come out on his show later on and denounce and say that I was wrong about that. But a lot of people don't cite that, and I'm going to find those clips where he did, just so I can put it up and be done with it.
Please, because not a week goes by that people don't email me about what about the limo driver.
Not only that, the alien agenda too. He did presentations about the alien agenda.
Well, that's what I went to
Bill
see.
Cooper-
We went from Jersey to Georgia to go see him. He was in a high school gym in Georgia, I think it was. And I had no idea how to get there. We got directions from somebody who had to send them to us on a postcard for some reason. And we get directions to go down and see him. It was about a year after I got out of high school. I think it was like 92, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And we sat down in a high school auditorium where they had, the bleachers out, but they didn't have them all out. They only had one section of the bleachers out, and a bunch of chairs gathered around. And he had a movie screen and one of those overhead projectors. And he proceeded to, for like an hour and a half or something, give a presentation. Here's documents. Here's pictures. Here's a picture of the moon with a base on it. Here's this and that. And then he also showed the film. The JFK being shot by the limo driver.
Yeah, those are two really big strikes against him. But later on, I'm going to find the audio. But later on, he admitted his wrongs, and when it came to he thought that what he saw like saucers and things like that. But he thought they were very man-made and not so much extraterrestrial. Mm-hmm. And that, unfortunately, it was too late for a lot of people that were already criticizing him, and they didn't want to hear any retractions, and that's why he kind of like put his focus onto the militia movement and things like that.
Yeah, but you see now the counter to that, though, honestly,
Yeah.
Chris, is that here's the problem: is that when the guy was stating, and he did this on that videotape that I got in the mail,
Yeah.
like I said, he sat there very stoically in front of the camera and said, "I saw documents when I was working for Admiral Cleary."
Not only that, Chuck, he wrote it in his book. It's in Pale Horse. It's in
Oh, yeah.
Behold the Pale Horse. Yeah.
Well, I'm just speaking to my initial experience with it, where I saw it on that
Yeah.
videotape, where he said, "Look, I saw these documents. This is absolute fact."
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Um,
Do you still have those copies, by the way, somewhere?
What, the videotape?
No, well, the videotape, you said that he sent documents too, like the copy of the document.
That may very well be in that
Oh.
storage stash I told you about in Jersey. Yeah,
Okay.
that may be there. A lot of
Yeah.
my old stuff is sitting there. So
Now,
yeah.
now, OP, what were you going to say before I cut you off?
I don't know.
She was
All right.
going to ask something about Bill Cooper, I believe.
Oh, about like if you could give a synopsis of his most famous book, To Ride a Pale Horse, because like not teenage, but boys would always like hand me that book. It's a
Yeah,
unique.
it was Behold the Pale Horse. It was released in 1991, and it goes into the New World Order and the various secret societies. And Tom, will you help me? Like with you could probably explain it better than.
Well, I have a question for Chuck.
Sure.
Now, is it possible that the driver did have a gun and he's the one who shot a pellet with a neurotoxin in it?
That theory does get bounced around, but I don't buy into it. But who am I?
Well, did they not, when they did the autopsy, did they not find that in his system?
No, that wasn't.
They didn't find any type of poison or anything like that?
No, there was no poison in there. Much of the autopsy was not shown to people, but
Yeah.
But what we have seen of it, there was nothing like that. No.
Okay.
They
so
withheld pieces of information from the autopsy at the time, not to show that he had what they call Addison's disease, because his off the top of my head, I'm having a little trouble with this, but I remember the testimony even to the HSCA where they didn't want to release any of the documentation and they weren't supposed to allow that to be seen until 2029 anyway. Any of the testimony, they talked about withholding part of it, and it was about not letting his adrenal glands be seen because it would have revealed how sick he was, at the time that he was president and all that. So they didn't. But other than that,
Chuck, the flip side to that, not to cut you off rudely, sorry, but the flip side to that, apparently, according to all these other sources, either CIA or the mob or whatever, that JFK was screwing everything that moved. So was he really that sick, or was he like healthy as a horse? Because it goes both ways.
Well, I got a hard time. No, I got a hard time believing that a guy who was on the amount of drugs he was on at a certain point and had the kind of damage that he did have to his back. I can't see how it was all that interesting, the acrobatics he was able to do, or that he was. I mean, look, maybe he's exceptional in some way, but I mean, with an unstable back and again being on the types, I don't know if I could perform with the amount of drugs that he was taking and things like that were necessary to keep him upright, and with the amount of damage in his back.
Right.
The acrobatics might have been a little more limited than people like to think. But
you got that damage in World War II for those out there that don't.
Yeah, the PT-109, you can look all that up. But back to the thing about the neurotoxin and the gun. Here's the problem: how do we put a gun in the Secret Service driver's hand? Bill, how do we put a gun in Bill Greer's hand?
Yeah.
So you give me the answer to that, then we can talk about whether he fired anything at him. Because there's no evidence for a gun in his hand.
What is it that we're seeing in his hand then?
Nothing. To be honest with you, it's a blur. If you look at a clear copy and clear frames from the Zapruder film, you find there is no gun.
The shiny thing, Tom, shiny thing is actually the greasy hair of Roy Kellerman that's sitting in the passenger seat.
If you look very carefully, even at the blurry version, you'll find that both of his hands are still on the steering wheel. Actually.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you take a look at the awkward way with which he would have to turn, and I mean, that's like an Annie Oakley kind of move. And I dare you to try and physically recreate that. and consider that, he wasn't in the backseat directly behind. He had, the Connollys intervening there. So there's a bit of distance. But think about the logistics with doing that, number one. But number two, follow his hands. They don't leave the steering wheel.
Yeah.
The blur that you see, you do see him turn. And the blur that you see is, like you said, it was the reflection off of Kellerman's head. He's going bald, and he's got some of that greasy crap.
Back in the 60s, they greased their hair.
No.
No, see, Tom, it's making a resurgence, this whole thing, because I feel like in part because Sam Tripoli was talking about it recently. Someone gave him that copy, and he was trying to convince Brian Callen on the Conspiracy Social Club that the driver shot him. But that I was sitting there going, oh, no, Sam, don't do that. That's been debunked so long ago. Please don't. So that could be why it's back in the news, or there's a resurgence of it.
If you can get an image if you can get an image of him holding a weapon right then and there, an actual image of him holding a weapon, and I don't mean just a blur, then, show it to me. I'd love to see it, because there are others that claim, okay, it was there and it was cut out of the film now because the film's been edited, stuff like that. And okay, let's just assume that that's correct. Fine. Get me one of the images that shows that he's got a weapon in his hand, and show me an image where his hands leave that steering wheel. Because again, carefully follow it and take a look at the steering wheel instead of following the motions of the head and all that, which you're now accustomed to doing. Take another look at it, no matter what condition that film's in, and you'll see it. If my YouTube channel was still up, I'd tell you to go look at the very excellent recreation frame by frame of the Zapruder film, where I had a very clear copy to show people, but you don't need mine. You can get it almost.
There was a bullet coming from the direction of Bill Greer, but just not from him, because why I say that is there's pictures of the windshield has a hole in it.
Well, again, even if we don't go with the windshield idea, what we have also is a crime scene investigator named Sherry Feaster, who very well examined this in a book which nobody in her field has challenged. She was a blood spatter analyst and a crime scene investigator, and nobody has challenged the science in her book, which shows that, you're looking at a shot from the front, whether it struck the windshield in between striking Kennedy or not. I leave that up to other people to figure out, but the idea that you definitely have a bullet strike from the front is a fair certainty, given uses of techniques to figure this out that weren't even imagined in the 60s. So
you went over that with the James Corbett too, right?
Well, I went over that.
Love James Corbett.
But Sherry Feaster, before she died, was on my show, and we went over that too. She's now passed away.
Now, OP, what were you going to say?
I have a question for all three of you gentlemen. For those of us that are really sensitive, and you guys probably are too. I know that Chris has sent me a lot of footage of Columbine. And when I first saw the JFK film, I was shocked that we were watching this man being murdered over and over and over again. And I watched like Sandy Hook for weeks I to get into that, to understand it. But there was nothing truly disgusting in Sandy Hook that I saw. How in the world do you gentlemen deal with the trauma of looking for the truth?
I'm a type of person where I don't tend to remember the past. I mean, I can, but I have this thing where I can just let things go. You know what I mean? And sometimes, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I have to stop because it just gets too much after a while, but then I'm like right back at it. So,
well, to be fair, I was mentally drained after around the time of the transgendered individual that did the shooting in Nashville, because, I looked into the Columbine thing way too much. And after a while, it's like, I have a good idea of what that was. And just knowing that evil is out there and they use it over and over again, you have to step away. That's kind of part of the reason why this show exists, because I want to do one that was a little more common. I mean, tonight's been pretty heavy, but because I was asking certain questions, but this is supposed to be more of a comedic take, or we're talking about, the reptilians and things that I might not necessarily even believe in or agree with, but can make for good, fodder for good jokes and a good time with my buddy Tom Cooper. But yeah, no, this shit gets heavy, and 9/11 is taking its toll on me too. So, Chuck. Sorry, Tom. Sorry, I didn't.
I was just going to say, for me, conspiracy led me to spirituality. So that's how it works. You know what I mean? I can.
Well, can you explain?
Go meditate or something like that. You know what I mean?
The opposite.
To clear the mind.
Spiritual, and then I got red pilled by my spirit guide all about the New World Order and everything.
Right.
But yeah.
Well,
well, hold on, Chuck. Tom, can you explain the spirituality thing? Because I had heard other people mention that before, but maybe for people that I have a good idea, I think I know what you're talking about, but even for me, just to clear it up.
I started looking into more of the esoteric stuff. Like everybody wants to say it's all evil and stuff, and I'm just like, well, that's what they told me when I was a little Catholic boy, that the devil was scary and evil, and that you shouldn't never talk about it or look into it. Well, I looked into it, and it's not as scary and as evil as most people think. It's just pretty much like another religion. They just want your money. So,
right. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Chuck.
Well, P, I got a different take on this, and it's a little weird, so bear with me a second. I had a life experience, which is the entirety of my life, which is a baptism in a different direction. Sure, it is absolutely horrifying. Working with just the Zapruder film. Let's just stick with that for a second. Working with that over and over again. I mean, I actually went through a project where we blew this thing up so that it was to scale, so it was life size and all that stuff. I've been over those frames over and over and over again. Looking at the horror of even watching Jackie Kennedy's face flinch as her husband's brains are splattered in her face. It's fairly intense. And this stuff can get intense. And that's one murder. That's one man. There are hundreds and thousands of people that we wind up having to study their deaths, the conditions of, I went and witnessed autopsies and things like that. And you can find yourself completely needing a spiritual shower after a bit, because you're sort of immersed in darkness, in death and destruction. But here's the thing. I don't think I can fairly comment on it the same as everybody else, because my life experience was a baptism in violence and depravity and the ugliness of life. I was part of what I call invisible America from the moment my father died. I was immediately immersed in a world where, sex was a transaction. It was a business deal. Violence was a common form of communication. This is just the way it was. I was immediately taken into that world where, quite honestly, it wasn't uncommon for blood to be spilled, for somebody to suffer, for somebody to be shot. I often will ask a researcher when they make statements about, oh, well, I know what happens when somebody gets shot in the head, and I know what happens when somebody gets shot. And I say, well, first, have you ever witnessed somebody being shot in the head? Most of them have not, unless they were combat veterans. And then you ask them, have you ever been shot? Again, unless they're a combat veteran, they haven't been there. I've taken a bullet. I know what it is. I know what happens. I know I didn't hear it when I got hit. Things like this. I happen to know for firsthand that the bullet travels faster than sound because I got hit by it before I felt my leg wet, before I realized I was shot. I felt the blood before I even knew I was hit. And I wasn't hit in the head, but I've seen somebody hit in the head. It is a different experience to live it. It's a different experience to, the first major act of violence I committed at the behest of somebody else is I stuck a power drill in a grown man's leg because I was instructed to do it. Okay. And that's the way it was. Okay. So for me, being baptized into violence, I lived violence. It was unusual for me to find peace as a child, even. So my sensitivities are different. And, frankly, I'm still, I still got my sensitivities. Obviously, I started out this show crying like a pussy on here. So
I saw that.
So, I've got a full range but my range might be a little askew from the average person's because I started life a little differently.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I
don't
really
know
appreciate
if
that.
the same
Thank
way.
you.
And you can hear a lot more about that, Chuck. Here's the shameless plug on a series of audio chapters we've been recording for a while. Are you going to
Yeah.
kick me later for bringing it up?
No, I'm not going to kick you, but it's still in progress. I'm actually doing an audio book of my life, and it's in the member section at Ochelli.com. So if you do sign up over there for a membership now, you can have access to the audio book as well. And indeed, I think I signed up Occult Priestess to a membership at Ochelli.com.
Yes,
So
thank you.
you could actually check out the audio book if you want to get a glimpse into my life story. My early childhood's all up there already, but it's still in progress. So I haven't even gotten to the part where, you know, I'm a musician and I go and I have that fun adventure. There's some fun coming up, but there's a lot of darkness early on. So
And what's that called, Chuck?
Halfway to Hell.
Okay.
So
Nice name.
I've got some really good news for you guys.
Yeah.
Over in the chat, there's a $10, whatever we call a Rumble donation.
Oh,
And that's
thank you.
from Way Cool
you.
Snoopy. Says,
Nice. Thank you.
they say,
Hey.
I used to hear Art Bell locally while traversing Nevada late nights. I would be interested in listening to Bill Cooper's broadcasts as I completely missed him before they killed him. So
The
there
hour
you
of the
go.
time, my friend, new friend.
Thank you, Way So Cool Snoopy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'll post that on my at Seagraves Mask Guy account. I'll post. They have the whole Bill Cooper collection. I posted that before. It's on the Wayback Machine, but I'll repost it later on after this.
Chris, Six sent me a message. You're supposed to thank somebody. I didn't catch the name.
Thank you, Six. I don't know what I'm
okay, yeah. I just
engaged
caught
with
it.
what's going on. Yeah. Here we go. Well, I was going to ask OP about a certain thing, but I wanted to just get Chuck's take on. Now, thank you, Six. I had it on the top of my mind.
Way Cool Snoopy is who we are thanking for
Thank
the
you,
tip.
Way Cool Snoopy. Here we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Way Cool Snoopy.
$10 tip.
Anybody.
That's generous.
Nice.
That's
yeah,
really
no,
good.
that's absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks
just
to
trying-
anybody who takes the time to actually support the efforts of people that are not being supported by
Yes,
corporate
thank you.
entities. Because look, the only reason why independent media will remain even in place in the slightest way is if you guys support it. So more power to all of those that do so. Whether you sign up for something or you make a donation, you send something to Occult Priestess, you partake of some of the things she does for a living, you hook up Chris with something. I don't know about Tom or what he's got set up, if he's got a Patreon or anything, but whatever it is you do, no, none of that. Okay, well,
We'll work it out, Tom. I want to join Patreon too.
Tom's a hardworking plumber in Oregon.
Yes, sir.
awesome. Well, this is the only thing I do. So every bit of support that I ever get, whether you throw $1 to me over there or you pick up a membership or anything, or you make a donation to one of the guys I work with, like I said, Chris, or if you check out Aaron Franz over there, another show I produce, The Age of Transitions, along with Get Mad with Chris Graves, and also Uncle the Broadcast right now. We're not carrying Jack Blood anymore. He decided to call it quits. But it is what it is, and there will be more shows at Ochelli.com aside from my own. Sorry, had to throw that in, but yes, support us if you want us to stay around, because that's the only way it's going to happen.
Now, OP, have you heard of a gentleman? And when I say gentleman, someone named Gigi Allen.
Was he a musician?
Yes.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
You could say
He's trying to do like my greatest hits here. Chris is like slowly rolling through my greatest hits. I don't know why, but okay. Why are we not talking more to Occult Priestess?
Well, I was gonna. Okay, all right. Well, hey, we had you in right there. You almost replaced Gigi Allen in the murder. The
murder junkies. Yes, I had a shot to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it turns out when I ran into Merle and the guitar, I can never remember the heavyset guitar player's name. heavy duty, always dressed nicer than everybody else. But Merle Allen and him, I ran into them in the East Village some months after they had replaced Gigi. And I had opened for Gigi Allen's second to last show at the Fast Lane in Asbury Park. And they said they would have been more than happy to have me in for an audition. They might have put me in there. And I was like, oh, well, too bad I missed out on that one, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I would have been a good murder junkie. I wasn't quite Gigi Allen.
Right. That dude was something special, boy.
No, we're glad to have you. We're glad that you came our way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, now, Occult Priestess, OP, you had a whole documentary made about you. You tell everyone about that.
Yes, there's also 6 other people in the film, so it's not just about me.
All right. Well, I was, you're special, but I get you.
Yeah, so the film was directed by Rodney Asher. He is a director who directed the film Room 237 about the fake moon landing / Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, and if Stanley Kubrick might have been the man who sold the world. Very interesting story there. So Rodney Asher got a hold of me and said, I heard you have sleep paralysis. I'm doing a movie on this, and I heard your 3-hour interview, and now I want to interview you. So eventually it ended up that I went out to LA and shot the film The Nightmare in one afternoon with a real live director who actually looks like Stanley Kubrick, which is wild. So that's just, the long and the short of it. That's basically how I got to move to LA was through The Nightmare. And also just personally,
Sure.
having sleep paralysis and horror and nightmares, and really it changed my life. It made me a different person. And so it was a great sense of justice to finally be acknowledged for that within a film. Like my little kid self was like, oh my God, I'm in a Hollywood movie and I'm not acting. This is a documentary. In fact, this most scariest documentary ever made. It's about my life. And so just as the Occult Priestess, I think that that's really cool, that I should have a few bragging rights over that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask, with your permission, can we play a clip?
Oh, you would like me to present it? Sure.
No, I have it already.
Oh, you have it? Yes, please.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
This is why I'm useful as a producer for Chris.
Laying down to go to sleep, I would feel utterly exhausted, almost as if I had just been drugged. That's my voice. My eyes sealed shut, my mouth sealed shut, and it's as if everything was shutting down except for my awareness, my consciousness. And hearing voices and screams and crying, I would hear all the sounds of hell. And that is when the shadow man would come and he would walk disjointed. Welcome to my nightmare. I think you're gonna like it. Nocturnal vacation, unnecessary sedation. You wanna feel at home, 'cause you belong. Welcome to my nightmare. Yay! Occult Priestess, Corinne Wilson. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That was cool.
Was that a good was good clip there? They do good.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being you, and thank you, Chuck, for being you. So what? So how long ago was that?
Oh, the film came out in 2015. I was in
Okay.
LA in 2016. Yeah, that's how that happened.
All right.
I
So
mean, I moved to LA in 2016, so this all happened before that.
so do you keep in contact with Rodney?
He is my Facebook friend, and I follow him on Twitter. And once in a while, I will send him something that's just right up his alley.
Oh wow.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
He's very kind to keep me on his friends list and stuff. But he said, you're my girl. You're my girl for this. So he was really impressed with just, I think, my aesthetic too. I was the only goth in the film and all of that.
No, that's awesome.
I gave him a tarot reading after we were done filming.
Well,
And
tell
so
everyone about that. Yeah.
Well, I can't, but I can tell you.
No, not he. I don't mean his individual. No, I mean just like you do. No, that's one of the services that you do. That's.
I could tell you that he seemed very secretive and private.
Oh.
And I found that also among his tax bracket. A lot of people who have more money are just, okay, tell me what you got. And then you say it, and then they don't say shit, and they're done.
They're like,
So you
all
never
right.
know.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. And they just leave. Anyway, Tom, what do you think? You look perplexed.
I'm having a good time listening to everybody's stories, to be honest with you. Like the birthday cake thing. I didn't know anything about that, and it's the first time I really saw a clip of OP's documentary. And so, and where can we find that?
That's on YouTube, I guess. That's the Nightmare Girl. I believe
Okay.
I might have put it on Rockfin, but it's called the Nightmare Girl.
It's on your official YouTube page, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's probably
Okay,
on
cool.
the front page somewhere. But Chris found it.
Well, if he can find it, I'm sure I can. So
Oh,
I'd like to check it out. Well, I'm
going to tell you my horror story now.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, you know what clip you should get? You should get dun, 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 dun. You should get Oh Fortuna.
I had that in the back of my mind. No, I didn't, but I will now.
Now it is. That's awesome.
The Jaws.
That's always
Okay. Anyway. All right, Tom. All right.
Yes, sir.
You are you controlling that?
No, I'm not. That's all you, brother.
What's going on?
Andy Graham.
All right. The joke is over. All right.
Wait a
Favorite
minute,
horror.
Chris, do you understand that on Twitch you could have all these gadgets and like little cartoons going off and crazy stuff if you learn how to do Twitch?
I only have AOL, so I don't even know what you're talking about. What's everyone's favorite horror movies?
I will say Poltergeist, because that one scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Okay.
Ooh.
Now, mine would be A Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's mine
Really?
too.
Clearly.
But it's about sleep paralysis.
Well, that's the idea. All right. We have it right underneath.
No, I'll tell you, the greatest comedy ever made was The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Getting funnier every time I see it.
And it keeps getting funnier.
It does.
How come my Alex Jones and my Beetlejuice sound exactly alike?
Because I think they're the same person. And Bill Hicks.
Oh my goodness, it's funny.
But I don't know. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, what are you doing? The Nazi salute?
No, I'm trying to fix my camera.
Oh. I was like,
You do have to see Kyle every time you have to fix the camera. It is Google. They say see Kyle.
Right?
So, Chuck, I got a couple questions. Are you familiar with Phil Schneider?
Ooh.
Phil Schneider, off the top of my head, doesn't ring a bell. Who are we talking about?
The guy who used to build the underground bases for the military.
No, not that guy. I've heard from others who make that statement, but not him. No.
You saw
That's such
Oh,
a
really?
dumb subject. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
I don't have that sound effect, the rim shot or rim job, whatever the thing was. The rim shot. You say it again.
There you go.
Say what again?
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, all right.
So anyway, Chris and I just recently watched a little. I don't know. I wouldn't say it was. It was more of a podcast and a documentary
Right.
of his ex-wife, and so I wish we could post it because it's super interesting. She starts talking about other dimensions and you know, and him building the bases and stuff like that. And I guess it was, you know, he died by a surgical tubing wrapped around his neck from a doorknob.
Does that happen?
Apparently, well, apparently he's missing fingers, and so basically, Phil Schneider, he's the gentleman who was down in the Dulce. He went down underground, and when he got there, there was a full-on alien and a human fight going on down there. And basically, he got struck by some type of energy weapon, he said, and it pretty much disintegrated his ribs. So he had to had surgery to replace them. And he shows you the scars and everything, the missing fingers, and basically towards the end of his life, he came down with cancer. But what made him become a whistleblower is he went to his clearance was good enough for him to make into UN meetings. So he went to a meeting one time and said that 2 7-foot gray aliens walked in. And he said when he saw that he didn't want to be part of the military or the government anymore. So he started to whistleblow. And within 9 months, there was like I don't recall the number of attempts on his life, but there were quite a few. And finally, they got to him. So.
Yeah, Chuck, I'm sure you came across his work over the years, Phil Schneider.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. Now that you're giving me the details of the story, I remember the story for sure.
He's good friends with Al Bielek.
Okay.
Are you?
Okay.
Al Bielek was a survivor of the Manhattan Project.
Damn.
Okay.
So he claims that he was a time traveler. So.
I got you. I never delved into these too much. Yeah, good.
Oh, okay.
Do you wonder if these guys that get up and do the lectures, are they agents? Some of them have to be. If
Well,
not
Tom,
most.
I don't think Tom, you're not gonna like my answer, but I'm on the fence about Phil Schneider. You know what I mean? I think
No, that's
I
fine.
don't know. They did. Someone killed him. Clearly, he did not kill himself, based on what we've seen from the aftermath. But I always
Well,
said,
in general, do you guys believe in time travel?
I do.
Okay, why?
Why? I've always been interested in it since I was a little kid. I watched some old flick where the dude was time traveling. It just always caught my interest, and then I found out about the Pegasus program, where a gentleman claims that he time traveled with another gentleman and Obama.
yeah, that's
So,
To where or to what?
to Mars.
to Mars. Yeah.
Well, that's not time travel, Mars.
He says they went through portals.
Oh.
With CERN. And things
Well,
like
he
that.
also claims that he was sent back in time to find out who killed Lincoln, but their timeline was off. They were off by 15 minutes, so he never. And he said the portals would close; they wouldn't always stay open. Like he had a certain amount of time before the portal would close again.
Well, I've been out to LA for 6 years, like a sojourn, to meet all the people I ever wanted to meet. That I'd read their books, I understood their philosophies, and I went to see how they were as actual people and what was the state of their soul. And I found most of them this is a business. They are in it for money. They will lie their butts off if they think it's creative. They think it's acting. In fact, a lot of them are failed actors that are now in the new age because they're pretty, right? And a lot of it is quantum and science and quantification that has nothing to do with what real true spirituality is. And absolutely no one is talking about God at all.
Right.
And so I understood a lot of the people were agents. Now I hugged Jordan Maxwell. I took him into my arms and I really felt him. And I do feel he is genuine. But someone else I met that I know now is not genuine is the three named lady.
Mm. Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, blah blah how. What
Yeah.
can we get her name?
I'm not going to say it. No.
Molten.
Yeah, no, I know who you're talking about. I just can't.
Molten Howell. How?
I don't have 2.3 trillion or whatever Jones got in that court thing, so I'm not going to say the name, but I know who you're talking about.
Well, I'm saying her name because I thought she was real. I'd seen her when I was a child on television talking about them. The aliens are taking the cows and they're taking all of their organs out of them and what's going on. I saw that on TV as a child with my mother. So I was hooked to her. And of course, she was on Art Bell all the time. But when I met Linda Moulton Howe, the whole illusion broke. And I saw this kind of
She worked for Sightings, too, the TV show Sightings that I watched all the time as a kid on Fox. Yeah.
But she's like a sad, lonely woman who is parenting her kitty cats, which that's cool. I love cats.
I love cats.
But I mean, the state of her soul was not in a good place. And I've got proof for this. You can go to the paradigmgroup.com and just look up Linda Moulton Howe. But there is a picture of Linda Moulton Howe, Stephen, the doctor, the serious guy is in this picture. But
Greer?
Yes, Greer. They are pictured with a Rockefeller. It's a bunch of new age people, and there's David, I believe, Rockefeller with them. And so I'm not sure I got that first name right, but they're on a retreat to be told what to say together as a group. And that is the paradigmgroup.com. And they're also on Twitter if you want to look them up. But that's where I found the evidence. That's where the picture is.
And that was a serious thing, too. S-I-R.
The Serious Mystery.
Yeah.
And that's Stephen Greer.
Stephen Greer.
And then he does C5.
Yeah, I talked to that guy.
Type of channeling. I do not find anything about him authentic whatsoever. And actually had an ongoing fight for years, like fighting against the darkness of this concept of blue avian aliens that was coming out of the SSP, all the space stuff. They were trying to brainwash people in the New Age community to believe in some kind of savior alien instead of God.
Right.
And so that's where we got the blue avians
from
David
Nordics,
Wilcock.
too.
So before I have to bail out, Chris, 'cause I got to bail out pretty soon. But I wouldn't mind throwing something since we're throwing the oddities onto the table here.
Well, you got to remember the show you're on, Chuck. This isn't, this is more lighthearted. We talk about reptilians. We talk about this and that.
It's fine. I'm good. But
time travel. Can I just say this real quick? Time travel. I don't know if it's real or not. It is fascinating as a subject in creativity and fiction. I think all the past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously. I just want to put that out there. Chuck, go ahead.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Time travel as it's presented, as it has been presented as a sci-fi concept, it's entertaining. Yeah. But the reality of it, I have yet to see somebody come out with what I am certain is the reality of it.
Right.
Leave it at that. So I got a question for all of you, though. And the guy I used to talk to, somebody was shocked to find it in my archives not too long ago, that I used to have a lot of conversations with, Richard Allen Miller. You guys aware of him?
I am not.
I've heard of him, yes.
Yeah, man. He's the guy that stares at goats.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that would be one way to look at him.
Right.
I used to have a lot of conversations with Richard Allen Miller, not just in public, but now there's a guy, I don't know where to classify his spiritual, placement is exactly. OP, but I will tell you that he does not just talk about unreal things. He definitely is hooked into some very real mechanisms, some very real things.
Yeah, we're talking about remote viewing, right? Just for folks out there that are not
Oh,
sure.
no, not just remote viewing.
Okay.
No. Like the time dilation and things like
Oh.
this, and retraining the mind, and exactly, how it. And the guy, if you look closely enough, has been connected to and around so many fascinating people over the years.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But somebody was totally freaked out by the idea that I had serious conversations with him and entertained. And I'm like, well, look, the stuff that he's talking about works.
Right.
And that's all I'm telling you. So, and we had some unique conversations some years ago. So I was just curious if you guys were into all that, because that goes
absolutely.
into a whole lot of stuff, because,
The military's involvement with psychic ability is very important for us to understand.
Right. And even him talking about trying to train the SEALs so that they could literally slow down time so that they could increase their survivability and things like that. Yeah, that's a real thing. And just saying, Doc Ram is an interesting guy. So
Well, OP, can you hang out for a little bit more?
I can actually. Micah Dank, the author Micah Dank, is messaging me. He must have been in the Jordan Maxwell groove or something like that psychic groove. And he's like, send me the link. So I've sent him the link to StreamYard, see if he wants to come in. So
yeah, I mean, Mayor Cooper or Governor Cooper.
I don't have. Yeah, it's a party. Anyone's invited, man.
I'll be jumping out pretty soon, but Micah and I are also getting together pretty soon here on a video discussion.
really,
which will be on astrotheology.
Right,
and,
his topic.
Exactly, his topic, and he's going to really be the guy who's going to lead that conversation.
He was on my show too, on Digging Chris Graves too, because I'm like, huh? Oh yeah, he's the son. I get it. Son, the son of God. All right.
It's a see and say presentation.
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, yeah, Sky, I get that. All right.
Well, I'm familiar with the topic. I mean, look, you spend hundreds of hours talking to Jordan, you get familiar.
Chuck, I'm an idiot,
right?
So that's why I'm like, oh, blue car. But tell everyone how they can hear you, where they can find you. Just that's important, and how they can help the cause and whatnot and everything.
Oh, I'm easy to find, and you know what? You
can give him the big screen during this part. Do you know how to do that? You can take us out of the stream and make him big.
Oh. Here we go.
Hurt people's feelings. I got a face for radio, OP. Come on. What are you doing?
Chuck, I'll be honest. I like watching you on video.
Yeah, me too.
You do a good job.
Thank you. I have no idea what's going on. I'm blind as hell. So
OP, I'm going to screw this whole thing up. Can we just keep it the way it is? I can't do it right now.
No, that's totally cool. I'll teach you how later.
Don't worry about it. For right now, look, all you got to do is remember you can go to Ochelli.com. If you know how to spell my name, you can find it, OCHELLI.com. You can find me there. You can find Get Mad with Chris Graves. And, I am sporting a new hat. If you give me a second here, I'll show you something. I've gotten a few others in, Chris.
All right.
I'll mention this to you. And we got the Age of Transitions. I do have one of the versions of the Get Mad with Chris Graves hats. That is coming.
All right, you're solo, so
nice.
Show it right up to the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, Chuck, put it right back up to the camera.
Wait, here's another one. Okay.
Yeah.
These are one or two of a kind right now because I've been trying to get a printer because I had the old hats. There's my old beat up crap hat.
Yeah, I got it on right now.
I gave the last one to Chris, so we're not going to make these anymore, but we're going to have new ones like this one I'm wearing on my head right now. And those are going to be thank you gifts for people that decide to support us at Ochelli.com. So that's coming up. I'll be putting up a page for that. And also the Magic Bullet archive is coming up where I'm going to give you the 2,000 podcasts I've done, as well as all the stuff that I produced over the years on one thumb drive. Okay. And we're still coming up with exactly how much to charge for that. But going to put it out there so that you guys can have all that in one shot. So it'll be like 4,000 podcasts on a bullet-shaped thumb drive. And these are going to be thank you gifts for people that decide to support us. So The hats are coming in as I'm showing you.
That's amazingly generous. Those thumb drives could be worth so much money.
It's a magic bullet.
No, but that's it. It's the magic bullet. And so that's coming up soon. And I really appreciate any sort of assistance anybody gives to us over there. Keeps us going. It costs money. We got a live radio station 24/7 that goes out on the internet. We're going to return to AM and FM radio at some point. Not returning to YouTube, though, although we are available on Rumble and Odyssey and all that good stuff as well. And really proud to promote and Brockman. Really proud to promote and produce people like my friend Chris Graves and also Aaron Franz, Uncle the Broadcast. Lots of other people I've produced over the years, but I'm really happy to keep doing that. And again, if somebody else out there needs to be empowered and is having trouble figuring out how to do it, by all means, contact us. We'll figure out a way to assist you and get you out there, because every piece of good information needs to get out to the public. So
absolutely.
Ochelli.com. Join us one way or another. Support, participate, whatever it is you want to do. We'll find a place for you. How about that?
This is the great Chuck Ochelli, and we will play him out as he exits the stream in the I don't know, time travel, folks. Here we go.
Thanks for coming on, Chuck. Appreciate it.
Great to meet you, Chuck.
Got to do it again. See you soon, OP.
See you soon.
Hold on. Be right there.
Time travel.
Boo. Anyway,
that was pretty cool, man. Chuck's a good dude.
Yeah, Chuck is he's a brother.
He has some interesting stories.
Oh yeah, that audio book, man. We were working on that for almost a year now. There's a lot.
Yeah, that'll be super interesting. I'd like to hear that, man.
I want to try to turn that into some kind of a mini series or some kind of a movie of some kind,
Right. That'd be cool.
Oh, here we go. I think we have a new visitor.
All right.
Device is not connected. Here we go, Mr. Micah Dank. But
Micah Dank.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, he said he might be having problems with his camera.
All right, well, he's here with us now in audio form. So, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well, thank you.
You've been
welcome, Micah. What made you text me and ask me what I was doing?
I saw you were talking with Chuck and these fine fellows.
Oh, over on Twitter?
Yeah, and I wanted to just jump in and say hello.
Awesome.
Cool.
We're talking about you.
Are you really?
Yeah, we totally mentioned you. I did.
Well, Chuck's also mentioned he's got a show with you coming up too. So
he's got a video presentation coming up.
That's right. I'm off camera because I'm doing what Yona Anawodi always tells everyone to do.
Good for you.
Yeah,
just so you know, we don't mind if you do that on screen. So I have no problems with that.
You make it sound so naughty, John.
I have fun with myself too. That's on OnlyFans.
Naughty isn't always naughty now, is it?
So what's up, Danka? What are you doing tonight?
I was just in a bunch of Twitter spaces talking about my work.
I've seen you in some Twitter spaces.
I
know.
Are you on your phone, Micah?
I am.
And where are you hailing from this evening?
My couch.
All right.
That's hilarious. I'm in state.
Absolutely. Micah, do you partake in the consumption of marijuana?
That's literally all I do. I mean, not
good for you.
It's the only
literally all I do, but it's the only thing that I partake in.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of horrible things going on in the world, so why not, partake in something a little fun, a little creative, Fuck it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Anyway, so Mike, what are you working on? Anything new coming up, or any projects, any appearances coming up? Besides
Oh my
on-
God, do you have an hour? We were talking about Jordan Maxwell, Micah.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy.
You
Is
still
he
there, Micah?
connected?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Tell us what projects you're working on, dude.
You know, I got to start my 9th book at some point. I have the whole thing basically outlined, all my crib notes, and I just got to start writing it. I finished the Bible when it comes to astrotheology. I started the Colburn Bible, and I have a website now. It's called debunkmywork.com.
Oh wow. What can
Yeah,
we
that
find that?
website. You also tell us about the advertising you did, dude. That big advertisement.
Oh, so no, that's in November.
Oh my
You
God.
guys,
Okay.
you guys know November 5th, right? Remember the 5th of November,
V for Vendetta.
right?
Yes.
All that stuff. Well, on November 5th, I'm from New York. On November 5th, there's going to be, oh, I wish I could show it, but I can't. I'm putting up a giant, one of the biggest billboards in Times Square is going to show, it's going to be like attention New York City. You have been lied to, and it's going to have all this kind of stuff on it. And it's going to have a link to my website. And on my website, I have all my videos. And I'm also having like 500 posters plastered all over Manhattan.
Nice. Good for
It's
you,
the
man.
effing bomb, man. Listen to that. And none of us are doing that. Nobody is doing that.
I don't have any money to do anything.
Well,
Right?
okay.
Power
so
to
this
you.
is where you ask an expert, Micah. How can you afford to do this?
Well, that's not my place, but all right. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. How do you do this?
I'm able to. There she is.
He wants to change the subject.
Are you going to be all cagey about it and not tell us?
Yeah.
We want to learn.
I mean, it is going to be about like 14 grand.
Wow, dude.
I don't think
Ouch.
I've ever made 14 grand in my whole life. Cashing in all those cans.
I mean, it's really exciting.
Anyway, all right. Well,
Whatever you got to do,
he
man. You know?
doesn't want to bring it up. So, okay. So on the 5th. So, what are
He
you
pleads
what
the
are your goals with that? You plead the 5th on the 5th. About the 5th.
I just need one article, one influencer, one something or other just to
True.
see it. And that's it.
Okay.
See, Micah is a marketing genius. I call him like a podcast whore, which is true, but he's also really smart about it.
Thank you. I am the podcast tour.
Oh, we got.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with getting around on podcasting. You know, get
I don't
yourself
know
out
many
there.
shows that haven't already hosted Micah.
Oh,
Is there
you've been
any
on.
show that you haven't
Yeah,
done,
boy.
Micah, that you want to do?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he wanted to do this one, but he is right now. So.
You know, yeah. And then there's one.
Hey guys, I'm having issues with this, so I'm gonna have to drop off.
No
All
worries,
right.
brother. Thanks.
2 friends coming for you. 3, 4, then lock your door. 5, 6, grab your cruise.
Anyway,
That was fun.
I got Elm Street. So yes, I am a fan of said Nightmare on Elm Street. Anyway,
That is amazing tattoo. Wow.
OP, how did your show go today?
yeah, tell us about it. What did you cover besides Hitler and whatnot or whatever?
Nazis. Have you ever heard of the Vril? VRIL?
Real Society.
ma'am.
Tell everyone about it.
Well, no, I mean, I'm sure you know more than I do. I just did a little bit of research.
I was just about ready.
Well-
I'm like, right, tell us about it.
So one of the ladies, she was an in between, a go between. I would say. I don't know. Maybe there's a better. There was, yeah. So she had super long hair that went to the ground, and she said that she used that as an antenna to
The hair.
communicate with these entities.
Right.
hair.
And
Hair
it's
was
funny
the-
because Native Americans say the same thing.
Right.
That's how you communicate with entities, is from your
Or
hair acts as a like
nature.
antenna. So, and then from what I heard and watched, she got some technology through these entities, and they were capable of building UFOs and the Glock, which is part of time travel.
Nazi time travel.
Yes. So the guy who was part of that program, he disappeared when they when the Russians and the United States went into Russia, and nobody knows what happened to him. He just one day was gone. So
Now that was the Glockenspiel, right? And it, like,
yes, sir.
it showed up in like Pennsylvania in like the 80s and
Oh, it did?
something on- Yeah, we were talking about that. It like dripped something on like a grandmother and her kid, and they tried to get money from the government, and the government was like, "Screw you! You can't prove anything."
I'd
And
never heard of this, Chris.
Yeah, you remember? Like, yeah, they had to take like all these big, huge trucks and take the thing. Like, they put a tarp over it. They got it out of the woods. I was telling you about that.
No, you probably did. I just don't remember. But this is quite interesting.
But that was the story.
Right. Oh, well, I mean, I've seen some other stories where people have seen UFOs. You know what I mean, like encounters and stuff.
I love you.
You would?
Oh my god! I love you. And you go, I know. Oh, I swallowed my bitch ass. Anyway, so
I'm
no,
gonna
Chris,
shout,
yeah,
I was going to shout out really quick. Dad Guy 24 has joined the chat.
that's
nice.
That's Pat.
That's
right?
Pat the plumber.
There you go. And here's Tom the plumber and the
And
mayor.
it
Yes.
looks like there's 21 people watching.
Awesome. Hey, we're gonna get Pat on here soon. I want to talk to that gentleman.
Yeah, me too.
I want to know. I want to know about Patrick the plumber, and see what kind of conspiracies he might be into, if any at all.
I wonder if he knows about the Vril Society.
Right.
Oh,
OP, what do you know about it?
So Maria Orsic, there's a rumor that someone took a photo of Hitler and somehow made it into a picture of a woman, and that Maria Orsic actually never really existed. At all, right? So that was neat to find out.
Huh.
There's a person I can't remember that's all about the Tool Society over on, and pretty popular too, over on YouTube. And I messaged them about, could Maria Orsic have never existed at all, and gave him, the Hitler picture and everything. And he threw a huge fit and said, no way, because most of his content is about Vril and the black hole sun and all of these occult nonsense.
Won't you come wash away the rain? Right, Black Hole Sun. No?
Now, if we watch the video Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden, we will see evil people depicted.
I thought it was an acid trip.
Oh, no, it's evil versus good. The whole video. Yeah, I knew it when the first time I saw it. It totally blew my mind. But eyes to see, ears to hear kind of stuff. And it's about your perspective sometimes as well. But there's like the church people saying, come away from the darkness. There's a hippie saying, come away.
Right.
And that's supposed to represent the light side. And then all the regular muggle people, mundane people, their smiles are elongated and they do disgusting acts. And even little kids are seen with this demon within them. And then, we're praying, Black Hole Sun, won't you come? And heaven, wash hell away. It's
wash away the
prayer.
rain.
And then the sun opens up and there's this black hole, and all of these spirits get taken out of these bodies up into the black blobby grossness, and then it cleanses the earth. So it's quite a video from Soundgarden.
Sounds like my second grade all over again.
It's a rapture of negative intent in that sense. And it takes the negative away, a rapture that takes the negative people away. And he was good people.
He was working with the lead singer of
Chester Bennington of Linkin Park.
of Lincoln Park.
Chris Cornell.
They were supposed to be putting out a documentary about pedophilia.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're both dead. Yeah.
Wow.
And the
Could be.
rumor is that Chester Bennington is the son of
John Podesta.
John Podesta.
Oh my God.
They look pretty
Yeah, and if
similar.
you put a picture of them two together,
Yeah.
the resemblance is there.
I know a lot. I don't know about politics, but I know a lot about Podesta.
And,
And
what's her
his-
face? The spirit cooking lady.
Oh yeah, Maria Abramovich.
Yeah, that's the one.
And also the Clintons. Don't kill me, Hillary. But yeah, their involvement in the Haitian situations with the children, all of it, it's all connected. Podesta has some weird ass tattoos. I've got a video about that with Styx Hexenhammer 666. I was able to interview him, and we're kind of we're friendly, definitely. We follow each other on Twitter, and he wants to do something again. I can't wait, because Styx Hexenhammer, I'm sure you've heard of him a lot.
I have.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
But I've
He's
also
very
heard
popular.
some negative stuff about him, so
yeah,
I don't know if
Well, I
that's
don't
true or
believe
not.
everything Styx believes by any means whatsoever.
Right.
But
Right.
he is a great guest to have on the show, and he will blow your numbers up. Like, I've never had so many viewers than when I had Styx on. So
Right.
that was really cool. And my spirit guide told me to get him because, like, wait a minute, is this guy a Satanist? There's no way I'm going to talk to a Satanist.
Wasn't he a former though?
He is a former,
Yeah.
and now he's more of like a pagan, but not really. I mean,
The
honestly,
same guy I'm
he's
thinking of?
political. He's into politics. So to me, third eye blind, man.
Right.
But he's good at what he does, and his work ethic is off the chain, and he's pretty amazing. But there's always the deeper truth about people.
Right.
I'm wondering if it's the same guy.
Chris, he has very long hair and a long beard.
Well, it's not long, too long.
Well,
he wears glasses. He looks like a pagan, and like somebody I would have dated back in the day. Just
Right.
average kind of guy, but he's done miraculous things.
Like what? I'm putting you on the spot.
He has been on InfoWars, but the thing is,
I'm not a big fan of InfoWars.
He does politics a lot, and he knows that's why he's popular. But even before he started politics, he's been doing the pagan stuff. So he has a garden. He will take you out into his garden and show you what he's doing. And he's had such a popular base that he's done some crazy stuff too, like eating rations from the First World War. He just eats them on camera. So there's all kinds of weird and wacky things over in Styx Hexenhammer's world, but also he does songs. He remade My Sharona into My Corona. He's kind of a really cool cat.
Did he ever remake this classic jam?
Lady Godiva was a freedom rider. She didn't care if the whole world.
Anyway,
What is that song from?
the show Mod.
Oh,
TV
Actual
show?
Mod.
Yeah,
Okay, I
Beatrice.
wasn't here in the beginning if you had explained that to anyone. Auditorium says, I used to watch Styx Hexenhammer. Don't anymore, though. He got annoying.
Oh,
That happened.
I have that effect too.
So you could look up wordpress.com hot vril VRIL chicks CHIX from outer space. And that's by Occult Priestess. And you can look into, it's a very long blog with lots of pictures.
I've
And
been
you
there
can
before.
look into the full story of the Vril and the Tool Society. And also Wonder Woman. There are episodes of Wonder Woman where in fact, it's a whole season of Wonder Woman where she is kicking Nazi ass. And I definitely tell you to go back and visit those Wonder Woman episodes. She is
Linda
my
Carter?
favorite. Yeah.
I used to watch that.
woman.
I
But
heard,
also in the
watch that.
comic books too.
I heard she was a Libra.
Is she? I'm not sure I remember.
I
That
don't
would
trust.
make sense.
I don't trust those Libras.
Yeah. So you could be projecting.
Oh, totally. I'm
But
totally.
Wonder Woman and Linda Carter are two different situations.
No, I know. Well, yeah, I mean, she's an actress.
Right. And I think Wonder Woman is an actual Greek goddess.
What do you mean?
I mean, isn't her mother Hera?
I thought she was
Something
made
like
of clay.
Diana. Sorry.
Wasn't she made of clay?
Say what?
She was made of clay, wasn't she?
She was a golem. Yes.
Oh.
So wait a second. In the Bible, that's what it says, that man and woman were made of the clay of the earth. Now, what if it's a different representation?
But true. And also the hippies would argue that we are made of stardust.
Yes.
They were brainwashed on LSD.
Brainwashed. Yeah, it could be.
Well, I'm not saying that the Bible part of it's true. I don't really
Right.
know, but
You
yeah.
know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the fun part of shooting the shit.
Are you familiar with Lilith?
Yeah.
Oh, here we
So
go.
that's when he said clay. That's what made me instantly think that maybe she was representing Lilith.
Oh, well, her mother Diana would make her Greek. So
Well,
obviously it
Wonder
is a
Woman.
fictional story written by the man who made the lie detector test.
William Marsden's or
And he was
Marston's.
totally into S&M. He would love my hat this evening.
And he lived with two women too.
Yes, and he would dress as a woman from time to time. And there was a lot of bondage in Wonder Woman. And as a child, I was like, oh, well, of course you're tying people up. But no. That is a sexual fetish. And so that's what Wonder Woman was doing on her nights off.
With Superman from Krypton.
Oh no, dude! Why? She just lasso any dude she wants, right?
Right.
Yeah, tell me. Give
I
me the
prefer
truth.
Batman myself, Batman to Superman.
Was it because you could see his symbol, his crest? No, that's what.
He's the Dark Knight.
Well, there's Heath Ledger right there.
It's the other arm. You have
Oh
the
yeah.
bat signal.
Yeah, that one.
Everything's backward on camera, kids.
Look at that! Look at that! I got the flux capacitor.
Oh, cool.
It says I don't give a flux. 88 miles per hour.
That is so cool.
The Allison Chains.
88,
Anyway,
huh?
all right, I'm disgusted. All right, so winding down here, Occult Priestess, how can everyone find you, support your efforts, all your services that you offer, and contact you if you wish to be contacted?
Oh, thank you both. Thank you, Tom, for having me on your show again.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank you for coming
Always a
on.
pleasure.
Yes.
I feel comfortable here, which is rare.
Cool. Hey,
Yeah.
that means the world to me.
Good.
That you feel comfortable on our show. I appreciate that greatly.
Definitely.
Well,
Okay. I'll give you the shtick. All right. So let me channel Micah Dank. So I'm Occult Priestess of occultpriestess.com. I have been a professional psychic for over 30 years, and I am ready and willing to help you face your demons, look at your darkness, deal with yourself, heal yourself, love yourself, and come into the light fully of your own beautiful, perfect self. So that's what I help people do. I'm also a multimedia maven. I suppose I just made that up. So I make videos, I edit videos, and I do live streams like this. And because it's all about community, and education is the only destination for this vibration. And that's what we're doing here. We are vibrating the love and the light, which is brightness, that helps us see and hear the truth. So I just want to thank you, gentlemen, so much. Thank your audience. Thanks, Six out there, for helping. And thanks, Chuck Ochelli. Mwah.
Yes, ma'am. That was awesome. I just want to say to everybody, thanks for watching. And the person that tipped us, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Snoop Dogg, Snoopy.
It was Charlie Brown, right? Oh, yes.
Snoopy.
Snoopy Dog.
Yeah. So anyway, Snoopy, whoever you are, we appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And I had a really good time. I like doing this show with Chris and our guests. It's just fun. It's interesting. I get to learn new stuff, you know. So thank you.
Well, I was gonna tell everyone where they could find me, but man, okay. Well, it won't.
You have a link tree.
Oh, I gotta. Yeah, I think. Did I link something to that? Oh, I'm doing what
Hey,
Garth,
Chris is still learning, guys. Bear with us.
I'm doing what Garth did in Wayne's World. Good night, everyone. You can find me on you can find me at Seagraves. Yeah, and shit. All right, you can find me.
Well, we're moving on now to
Nice.
the east
I like this
side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. Moving on to the east side. We finally got a piece of the pie. Fish don't fry in the kitchen, beans don't burn on the grill. Took a whole lot of trying just to get